Hello and welcome to Nikolai's genetics lessons, and today's problem is 75% of the given population test positive for the Rh factor antibodies. Given that the blood type Rh positive is a dominant allele, what percentage of this population is homozygous? And here is the variance of the answers. Rh factor is one of the major blood groups in which we can get two variants of the phenotypes, whether it can be Rh positive or Rh negative, but we can get three genotypes with two alleles. So take a look. Here is the surface of the red blood cell, and Rh factor would be just proteins, surface proteins that we can find on the surface of these red blood cells. There are two alleles, positive and negative, and we can get three variants of the genotypes. Positive would result in Rh positive group. Another variant can be positive and negative. It's also going to result in the Rh positive blood group, because also the surface proteins would be produced by this positive allele. And also we can get second phenotype and third genotype, and this is going to be Rh negative, and genotype is going to be negative. So these two blood genotypes would make Rh positive phenotype, and this one would make Rh negative phenotype. Now let's read our problem again. 75% of the given population test positive for the Rh factor antibodies, and I want to underline antibodies. What does it mean? Not test positive for the Rh blood group, but for the antibodies. And antibodies for Rh factor can be found only in Rh negative blood group. And in Rh positive blood group, we do not have such antibodies. Otherwise, these antibodies would kill these red blood cells, its own red blood cells. So that means that 75% of those people who have these antibodies belong to the blood group Rh negative. So let's put 75% here and 25% here. So these two genotypes would make 25%. And this genotype and phenotype is going to make another 75%. Now let's read the second sentence of the problem. Given that the blood type Rh positive is dominant allele, what is the percentage of this population is homozygous? Take a look. This allele, which is positive, is dominant over the negative allele. Basically, negative allele, what does it mean? It means that the surface protein is not produced because this allele is mutated. This protein is just would be short version of the normal protein and would stay inside of the red blood cell, and we can't find it on the surface of the red blood cell. So when even one positive allele is present, that means we can find this protein on the surface of the red blood cell. Now let's use Hardy-Weinberg formula. And if we have two alleles, and we have two alleles, one positive, another negative in this gene pool, so when we have two alleles, Hardy-Weinberg formula tells us that frequency of three genotypes would be as follows: p squared plus 2pq plus q squared, and all three genotypes combined would equal to 1 or 100%. P squared here stands for the homozygous dominant genotype, 2pq stands for the heterozygous genotype, and q squared stands for the homozygous recessive genotype. And we know the frequency of this homozygous recessive genotype as 0.75. Here we have 75%. Why I put 0.75 here? Because if we do our calculations on the scale between 0 and 1, 75% would equal to 0.75. In our calculations, 1 equal to 100%. According to Hardy-Weinberg formula, we have two alleles P and Q. All alleles P or dominant alleles plus all recessive alleles Q. If we add them, we should get 1 or 100%. Again, for the P allele, we have Rh positive factor allele, and for Q allele, this means recessive allele Rh negative factor. We know the frequency of the homozygous recessive genotype, which is Rh negative. Now let's find the frequency of this negative allele. And if Q squared equals to 0.75, then Q would equal to square root of 0.75, and that means Q equal to 0.87. If Q equals to 0.87, then we can say that P would equal to 0.13. So these two frequencies combined would equal to 1 or 100%. Now let's read our question again. What percentage of this population is homozygous? Basically, question asks what is the frequency of this genotype and this genotype, which is homozygous dominant and homozygous recessive, excluding this genotype here, which is heterozygous. Let me also circle this part of the formula and this part of the formula. Homozygous dominant and homozygous recessive. Rh positive, Rh negative. So we just have to combine P squared plus Q squared. And we have found that P is 0.13, so 0.13 squared plus Q is 0.87, so 0.87 squared. And our answer is going to be 0.77. And this is going to be our answer. As you see, this is answer D. And this is all for today. Thank you for your attention. Please subscribe for my new videos that I post almost every day. And see you in the next video. Goodbye.